Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. So I'm Freddie here. So this is the authors, Paulo, Roberto, and João Towarzystwo, my colleagues. And so I'll present the exploiting social capital for recommendation social networks. Okay? Well, some context. Web 2.0, right, has users as the main drivers of information on the web. Probably everyone in this room has an account in one of those, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and maybe Twitter, right? Which is the focus of this work. That's why it's highlighted there. But then, so much information available causes the problem with well-known disinformation overloaded. And so information overload is a natural incapacity of humans to process such amount of content and select what's important for you or not, right? So this is very natural. I mean, we are inundated of information and we have to do that. So just to give more example, in Twitter, it's the most popular microblogging site. So with over 300 million users producing 500 million tweets per day. So it's a lot of content. And for example, in Twitter, you have your timeline, and sometimes you can't control or consume all the data. This is the amount also because, I mean, everyone in this room, of course, has a smartphone, is connected to a Twitter account, and we're posting things about where you are and what you want, and get to know about the other's life. So it's a lot of data, right? And but recommended systems have been playing a very good role in trying to coping with an information overload. For example, my colleague Paulo, he started work with topic modeling and semantic enrichment. Clark trying to use a user location to filter out information that's not relevant, right? And also, Franz Zoning in 2018, he tried to exploit these similarities based on user profiles and semantic similarity as well, to actually do some, to cope with information overload, right? But on Twitter, of course, you have beyond the text, the content similarity, the textual thing, right? You have also some actives that you can do, right? Impressions, when you're looking at something, retweets, you can forward a message, you can like something, or you can do some commenting, right? There's some user activities beyond texting or posting something. And that's the idea that we're trying to do here, is to make value, aggregating value from these activities. So on one side, we see that, I mean, social interaction analysis is still timid in recommended systems, despite there are some important contributions, some related works in that, right? We can recognize that. And include bullet, for example, that we use to compare our work in our experiments, and show you later. So the goal is quite clear now, right? So we want to take into account the social interaction, the interactivity, and create and calculate a social capital value, right, behind tweet messages. That's the point. So beyond, of course, traditional similarity models, we are not saying this is bad. We just want to try to do something else and try to improve traditional methods. If you consider Twitter as a timeline, it's a recommended system, because this is just not like dropped. This is some intelligence behind. We want to improve that intelligence by considering, for example, the activity that there are in the timelines. For example, you see in the first one, and then we have some numbers. So this is the first is 8, means like 8 retweets and likes and comments. And then if you take this into account, our goal is to put it in the first position, and then we reorder your timeline by giving the information that must be more valuable for you based on this activity. So, but some background on social capital, where is that? We did some read in some adjacent areas, and Bourdieu, in 2002, he says that social capital is the sum of resources accumulated through the relationships between users. So we were motivated by this, inspired by this, to try to put it in our models and recommended systems. And on our proposal, we have some beliefs. We think that recommendation in Twitter, for example, they can take into account the influence right? One guy has more followers, for example, what he says, then retweets quite a lot. It's influence, right? Interactivity, of course. You like something, you get it. You post something, and then you post your tweet. You get many likes and sentiment. When people just comment and they dislike you or give you some bad feedback or good feedback, and then we try to take this everything here and the model to then try to re-rank the Twitter timeline. So the details, of course, you're going to find in the paper, but here's just an idea. So we try to calculate the user influence based on your popularity. So that's given by the number of followers that you have, but also you have to take reputation. Reputation, it isn't something that you build by yourself, but something built for you. Like, for example, I need you to be my friend and help with a problem. So other persons may need your help because you have good reputation. So try to incorporate this in our model. Alongside the likes count, total likes count that you get from your posts, plus the news count. I mean, if you're a very active guy, and then we're considering this as the I score, the influence score. So this is our idea to get that number. Of course, interactions, if all any sentiment on the tweet that you post, we are considering as well. So if I'm tweeting a lot, I'm getting the number of likes, retweets, comments, and mentions that I have. And sentiment, of course, this is still very questionable. This is still something that we have to analyze. But if I'm tweeting something, I want to see the feedback people are having on my tweets. If it's positive, negative, or neutral. And then we want to put this in the score as well. And then we have, not magically, but we have a model. And then we get this number and we use that along with alongside content similarity to re-rank the timeline, right? Tweets in the timeline. So basically, this is our model. And then I brought here actually a real example. I was like asking for looking for Sophia, and then in my timeline show up first this one guy here, and then came this one, and then something that I was not really expecting, but this guy should come first, I believe, then this one, and this actually had so many comments, and then it was really interesting. It's kind of an article about journalists, and for me it was really interesting rather than this one. So this should have come first, and it didn't. And then, as an example, if I apply my model here, probably this would get like from 0 to 1, this 0.8, this 0.2. And maybe we could, if I had threshold, just eliminate from my recommendation list on my timeline. So this is kind of our model when you apply it. And I want to go through it. Just a picture to prove that it existed, it was implemented and tested. But then the question is how to test something with so many factors in Twitter. We know that we have APIs, right, where you can connect our applications, but we're very limited on what we can do in Twitter, right? So then, for this reason, we have to develop our own Twitter-like application for the evaluation proposals. It's called Rex Social in that, right? And then we took the experiment with 18 participants, right? So like everyone was invited. I mean, from 1,000, only 8, but still okay. And then that was the application to evaluate our proposal. Well, this sort of that's an overview on how things work. You might have thinking like, well, so everyone logged in his own account, but we didn't do that. We had to improvise. Why? First, concerning privacy. Some people just didn't want to share their public information, and they didn't, and so then we skipped this. And also, Twitter APIs have some limitations. If you want to process recommendations at the same time for many users, they just block you. And then we have to create our own application, right? So what we did, basically, we grabbed data, extracted data from Twitter, right here. We did some cleaning and NLP techniques. until we got our database processed, just like that. So then we apply our model on Rex Social, and then the users could actually analyze every tweet in their timelines, right? Okay, so some screenshots to prove that's true. So over there, you see the login area, and then we ask the users to select the topics of interest, for example, music, sports, entertainment, and then from that, we create a timeline, right? A random timeline, and then after that, we apply our model, and then they could evaluate. Then we could compare what was before and from we recommended. Actually, this it was a 5-star like it. There's an icon here that you can click, and then you can evaluate, right? So it's pretty much similar. I think I'm trying to sell this to Twitter. Maybe they like it, I don't know. So this is the protocol, evaluation protocol. We tried 4 different baselines. So one is a pure social capital, another one with sentiment analysis. Second one is cosine similarity, it's basically text similarity. This guy here, from 2019, he's doing something very, very close to us, and then we could compare our approach against his one. And important to say that, I mean, when you're doing evaluation, user trial with people, it's a compromise because you cannot flood him with recommendations because then they get really irritated and they just click and to finish the experiment. So we decided that 40 recommendations was really a great number. And then we did in 4 rounds, 10 rounds, or 4 rounds of 10 items each. Of course, the participants, they didn't know which method was generating the recommendations for the, yes. So some stats, so 3 months doing this experiments, right? So 8 participants, only 50% did not complete. This is the amount of generated tweets and recommendations. And here is the most important, is to show that there were some activities on the tweet data, and this was actually used to carry out the recommendations, okay? So some metrics used for evaluation. We analyze in terms of precision at 5, average 10. Here we consider like timeline with 10 tweets. We stop by there, okay? And so results. So our approach, I can call it like our approach to the blue bar, right? The blue bar is ours one. So we were, so the results indicate that we are on the right track. Of course, more investigations are needed, but we have some advantage over some compared methods. As you can see here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's the most interesting in here. Secondly, the mean average precision, considering averaging all experiments, all users. So we have some little advantage. That's no advantage from the 1. Yeah, it's interesting that sentiment analysis didn't produce as much as we expected, but still very competitive. As to the MRR, it's a very nice metric because it shows that when the most important item, I mean, the top 5 ranked comes first. That's the idea behind MRR. And that's very nice because we got 0.5, so above 70%, and the others were nearly the same results they achieved. Now, so we brought some ratings distribution, yeah, which unveils something that's interesting. So for the recommendation that got 5 rating in here, so for all, most of the top rating for all, it was quite high, as you can see. But we still got more 5, which reflects the results that was shown previously. Okay, but for me, this is actually the most important result, which shows that when you got the top rated recommendations is where you have, you see, more interaction. So this is something that was really interesting. And then, so this is something that actually still needs more investigation, but it has to do with our presumptions that were raised before. Okay. So to conclude the work, I think the results shows that our proposed model outperforms traditional methods nearly 50%. 60% of our recommendations were rated as relevant. I mean, rated 4 and 5. Okay. And we understand that there is a hidden value behind tweet messages. Yeah. When considered user interaction. I missed N letter in there. Sorry for that. So as a future work, then we have to dig into this problem of misinformation, right? I don't know whether this impacts or not. Also, we are not considering right now the value that videos or images, they aggregate to a tweet, but disaggregate too. And so this could be considered, right? And also investigate how bots can harm or even benefit, right, our current model. I don't have the answer to that. We didn't stop to analyze that. I can't say whether they can harm or not. Let's see. Maybe it's a future works, as I said here. And with that, I conclude my work. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Right, that was really good. You're a very good public speaker.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I have a question. When you talked about the related work, you said you picked one which was from 2011. What's the reason?
No, I'm sorry. I think I wrote wrongly there, but it's 2019.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it was just a mistype.
Okay. But those.
Yes, I mean, in recent years, I've seen some words taking care of these interactions and put it along with the textual similarity, and that's quite nice. But I understand that this happened in last years because Twitter actually evolved from that time to now. And now you have more features, and also you have more, even the API has increased quite a lot where you can take care and get this information from your API. I think that's the point that people are actually broadening your investigation and this kind of method. So it makes sense, of course, right? But the idea of social capital is really that something that happens, right? For example, if we run a motion here together, and then we say, wow, from now on, this recommendation panel workshop will be the main room, for example. We go there and fight for that, and probably going to win, because there's a power here behind of us. So that's the point. I want to take this and put it in there. And now I think that Twitter has evolved with many features and is evolving quite a lot. And probably, maybe in the next 5 years, my model will be maybe, out of date because there are new features and I haven't explored it yet, right? And this thing concerning the misinformation is something also that I have to take in account, right? Because my model cannot promote something that is legal or illegal or fake news, of course, right? Something that you have to take care of that as well. We haven't done it yet, but I know this on our trade. Well, actually, I did, right? For example, as it's shown here, right, my results, as you can see, I believe, that was my belief that sentiment analysis would help my model, but it didn't, you see? The results are not really, it's not really help. So I'm showing you that, I mean, my beliefs, not all of them are really great, but I have to investigate. There are two reasons. One, it was my bad implementation. Shame of it, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't implement it well. Or maybe I have to play a bit more with the scores that you give when you classify a tweet like neutral, positive, or negative. So it's something that I have to analyze a bit more. Beyond that, there is a thing. and sentiment analysis has to work along with some NLP quite a lot in terms of understand when someone is being, for example, ironic. He's trying to prize something, but he's not prize something. He's not, sarcastic. And this is difficult to get in the classification model. It's something it's something that I need to investigate a bit more. And probably this was the kind of results that I'm really not really getting really good here. But yes, so I'm showing that I was not 100% good. And I'm sorry, so I'm not gonna try. Yeah, as Amanda did, right? With the diversity was not that good, but still close. Well, she reported. Yeah, you for that, right? Okay.
Because there is like a debate.
Yes.
I would bipolarity Twitter. I mean, there are some seems that Twitter is like provoking that the society is more bipolar. People saying something against some other people. So having this type of recommendation where you promote those people that have more interactions or have more followers could impact this bipolarity? Do you think that could be harmful in that?
Very good question, actually. Well, the thing is, if we realize that we are going through that direction, into that direction, I think we should stop and get back and think, because we're doing something wrong. I believe in wrong. I think the original idea of this type of recommendations was something like this. Instead of, I recommend you a news recommendations that is just the link to something that you're going to read. The idea is that if I recommend you the same link from Twitter that has lots of discussion, this might aggregate value to your understanding, to a way of thinking. This can open new perspectives for you. So that was the original idea. So to some extent, I mean, at some point in the future, if I realize that I'm actually promoting, then we are going, I believe in you that we are going in the wrong direction. We haven't tested that yet, but I agree. Very good one.
So maybe that's idea that social to promote those tweets that are, that have comments, the same number, let's say, that the positive and negative comments to promote that discussion and that.
Yes, maybe what we recommend systems. What people do in popular items, for example, they penalize them so that they are not everyday recommended. That's the point. So I think maybe the same intuition could be applied here if this happens.
Short question. Yes, very quick. You mentioned Twitter, and that is your target. Is this method generalizable? Can you apply to different platforms? And if so, how would that be?
Yeah, actually, the Twitter was only for the experiments, but the model is generic because it considers a user posts and interactions over a social network. So the model is in there. But I believe that I agree with you that we have to do more experiments with other, how can I say, social networks where data is available. I agree at all, and that's actually needed to be more credible in what we are proposing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.